François de la Rochefoucauld in his book Maxims said, "We are so accustomed to disguise ourselves to others that in the end, we become disguised to ourselves." The point being that people act accordingly to not only fulfill their id, or basic desires, but also perform underlying feats that blind others from their actual motivations. This, Rochefoucauld claims, blurs the line that divides appearance and reality, what is real, and what is but a facade of truth. And in terms of this particular issue, Shakespeare asks the audience a single question: is it insanity?
In a more literal sense, Hamlet Act 2 Scene 2 can be encapsulated in a children's game called Mafia. The game has two phases, night and day. During the night, the selected Mafia attempt to secretly murder one of the innocents, while during the day, the innocents vote to eliminate a potential mafiosi suspect by conversing with one another. All the while, the mafias will have to disguise themselves as one of the innocents to conceal their crimes. The game ends in two different cases. One, when all the mafias are eliminated, or two, when all the innocents are eliminated.
Similarly, Hamlet can be seen as a mafia game, but without the innocents. Every character is constantly trying to figure out what the other characters are thinking about through the use of spying and plotting. The further this web of deception develops, the more distinct the disparity between appearance and reality becomes.
The four contestants of this scene are Hamlet, Polonius, Guildenstern, and Rosencrantz, the latter two being Hamlet's childhood friends sent by the king to spy on him, and Polonius, an old fool who believes that Hamlet is infatuated by love.
That being said, throughout the scene, several key quotations serve to illustrate important motifs. These motifs most notably being deception, betrayal, spying, sanity, insanity, wise, foolishness, wordplay, equivocation, puns, and duty, responsibility, faithfulness, nobility. Especially in Act 2, these motifs are all entangled to one another.
The scene starts with Hamlet gossiping with his friends about the actors that will soon visit Hamlet's place, during a conversation in which Hamlet says,
"He that plays the king shall be welcome. His majesty shall have tribute of me."
Here, Hamlet overwhelmingly welcomes the entertainer who plays the king, excessively displaying respect to him more than to Claudius, who is the actual king of Denmark. Hamlet could be possibly lacking sanity to a point that he is not aware that such statement of the king could be troublesome. The quote also exemplifies Hamlet's prevalent use of dazzling language. Such a skill, along with his toying of Polonius, in which Hamlet shows the apex of insanity, stimulates the audience's curiosity whether the overly actions and words from Hamlet is intentional or simply just sheer madness. The motifs we can find here are wordplay and insanity.
Going on, when Hamlet hears from Rosencrantz that young children are the hottest figures out in the play market and that they will be the ones visiting Hamlet's place, Hamlet starts questioning.
Are they children? Well, who maintains them? How are they escoted? Will they pursue the quality no longer than they can sing? Will they not say afterwards if they should grow themselves to common players, as it is most like if their means are no better, their writers do them wrong to make them exclaim against their own succession?
Now, from this we can see how much Hamlet seems to be familiar with plays and acting. Going just beyond the fact that Hamlet holds such knowledge, this quote can also mean that Hamlet possesses great skill and understanding in acting himself, which could mean that he can easily be deceiving those around him. Thus, motifs of deception and wiseness can be found here. In addition, the way Hamlet thrives to hide his true intentions to accomplish a goal builds a thematic argument discussed earlier.
The three continue to debate about how unethical and immoral it is to make money off young, child actors, and criticizes the abnormality of society for it. But Hamlet, characteristically, doesn't forget to turn the subject to his murderous uncle when he says,
Well, it is not very strange, for my uncle is king of Denmark. And those that would make mouths at him while my father lived give 20, 40, 50, 100 ducats apiece for his picture in little.
Basically, he is saying that in a society where a man such as his uncle can be king, it is not entirely unlikely that people are making money off of child actors, however unnatural that may normally be.
Still, when the actors enter the scene, our beloved main character Hamlet doesn't forget to greet everyone and shakes hands. Well, he still doesn't seem too psyched about the whole thing, and at the end of his greetings, he adds on the comment, "But my uncle, father, and aunt mother are deceived." The way Hamlet addresses Claudius as an uncle father and his actual mother as an aunt mother with the use of wordplay reflects his disrespect for both the king and queen of his nation. This portrays the anger and disapproval he has towards Claudius and Gertrude, while also illustrating that he possessed a loyal character that forbids him from forgetting what his father has experienced and simply praising those in power. In addition, the way Hamlet states to deceive the two most powerful figures in the nation that are in the end his guardians goes on to show that Hamlet deliberately manages his words and actions to achieve an underlying purpose, a portrayal of the central theme of this scene. Here we can see all wordplay, faithfulness, and deception illustrated by Hamlet.
The two are shocked by Hamlet's despondency and loathing of the world around him. But while the young lord asks time and again for the reason behind their visit, he is met only with lies. Eventually, Hamlet says,
"I am but mad north-northwest. When the wind is southerly, I know a hawk from a handsaw."
Here, Hamlet points out that there is method and cunning behind this veil of complete insanity. His madness, in his own words, only points towards the north-northwest, ultimately towards the king. Beyond the chaos of spying and deception, Hamlet knows the difference between, quote, a hawk and a handsaw, a predator and its prey, an enemy and a friend. Thus, the motifs shown here are insanity, spying, and faithfulness.
Then enters the so intelligent and wise Polonius, who acts like he knows everything about plays by stating,
"The best actors in the world, either tragedy, comedy, history, pastoral, pastoral-comical, historical-pastoral, tragical-historical, tragical-comical-historical-pastoral, scene individable or poem unlimited."
The way Polonius pretends to hold far-fetched knowledge in regards to plays and acting in front of someone like Hamlet highlights an important part of Polonius's character, his absolute foolishness. Furthermore, this could go on to show how Polonius could end up being easily victimized by Hamlet's deceptive actions of appearing to be insane, an essential part of the plot going forth that highlights the major argument by the writer. This final quote showcases both foolishness and deception.
As an audience, we peer into the play with a certain distant disposition, much like Hamlet's treatment of his own bicameral personality. We see it from the perspective of the god's eye, at least we think we do, and believe we understand the deception, spying, and plotting that is happening behind the scenes. That we know perfectly well why people act the way they do. As quoted above, to not only fulfill their id or basic desires, but also to perform underlying feats that blind others from their actual motivations. We look at Hamlet and pity him for being unable to preclude the inevitable and eventual merging of his appearances and realities. But think back to Rochefoucauld, and do we really?